Hey friends, I hope your week is off to a great start. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of an experiment. So this Dalgona coffee I've been seeing all over TikTok, all over Instagram. I'm even seeing videos for it on YouTube. And seeing the texture of this being so light and fluffy combined with the feedback from everyone who's trying it saying that it's very sweet makes me feel like this might be a really good no-churn ice cream. Last summer I made this Thai tea swirled no-churn ice cream. I'm going to be using kind of a similar technique here. Ingredients are completely different. But basically the recipe is really simple, so let's get right into it. So I've got equal amounts by weight of hot water and granulated sugar, 100 grams and 100 grams. I've got 1/3 that quantity of instant coffee. I got this on Amazon. It had good reviews. Instant coffee generally does not taste so great. However, the reviews of this one were very favorable, so we'll see if it tastes okay or not. But at any rate, we're going to get started here. So I'm adding the hot water, I'm adding the granulated sugar, and then the instant coffee. And I'm going to do a little pre-whisk just to get everything incorporated. So essentially what we're doing here is creating a simple syrup. It's equal parts of sugar and water. That's a basic simple syrup. And then we're adding this instant coffee to it for the flavoring. All right, so I've got everything kind of incorporated here. All I'm really looking for is to make sure that that sugar is dissolved. So I'm just going to check with my fingers. Yeah, so this is completely smooth. Now that the sugar is completely dissolved, I'm going in with my electric mixer. You could certainly do this with a hand whisk. I just don't care to whisk for that long, so I'm letting the machine help me out here a bit. So let's go in here. We're looking for this to get really light and fluffy. It should really increase in volume. We should have a color change. And we're just looking for it to kind of form ribbons when it streams back into the bowl. So I'm going to start off on low speed. Once we start getting a little bit of structure, I'm going to turn it up to high. All right, so this has been just about 2 minutes here, and you can see that the texture is super, super thick. I mean, this is basically, I'd say, like a medium-ish peak if we were talking about whipped cream, right? It's kind of like flopping over. So you can see that this is super light and fluffy. We're going to set this aside and move on to the next step. For the other part of the swirl in the ice cream, we're going to do just kind of a vanilla whipped cream situation. So I've got some heavy cream here. To that, I'm going to add some powdered sugar, so this will dissolve nicely without heat, and then just a bit of vanilla extract. I'm going to beat this until we're to medium to stiff peaks. Again, you could do this with a whisk. I just really don't care to. All right, so this has been just about a minute. And I'd say that's good. That seems like a pretty stiff peak. Perfect, so we are just about done here. So I've got the fluffy coffee, I've got the whipped cream. Now to this, I'm gonna add in some bittersweet chocolate. This is just 1 bar that I chopped up pretty finely. I feel like this is kind of a Java chip frappuccino situation is what I'm going for. So I'm going to just fold the chocolate through this pretty gently. You don't wanna knock all the air out of it. And now in goes the whipped cream. And again, we're going to do just a couple folds. I don't want this to be, fully incorporated. I'm looking for a swirl ice cream situation. So I think that's probably pretty good, actually. So I'm just using one of my food storage containers to hold this. I figured it would be approximately the right size. When I did the Thai tea ice cream, I put it in a loaf pan, a bread pan. So really whatever you've got will get the job done. Cool. So this is obviously very full, but it is so lightweight. This is like pretty much all air. So last, I'm just pressing a little bit of cling film directly against the surface. This will prevent the freezer burn and kind of gross like ice crystal formation on the surface. All right, perfect. So I'm gonna pop this into the freezer. I'm gonna check on it in about 6 hours and see if it's firmed up. If not, we'll check on it tomorrow. This ice cream chilled in the freezer overnight, and so I portioned myself out a little bowl here. Interestingly, the texture of this was really soft coming directly out of the freezer. Normally with no-churn ice creams, you need to let them sit at room temperature for a few minutes just to soften up. However, the coffee portion was super soft immediately coming out of the freezer. The whipped cream portion had more of that typical no-churn texture where it was a bit firm, but still not overly hard. So the fragrance coming off of this is very, strong coffee smelling. I am concerned about the taste though, because instant coffee just doesn't taste good. So I'm wondering how this is all going to come together. So without any further ado, let's dig in. So you can see it's holding its shape really well. So that spoonful was primarily the coffee with the chocolate chunks. Chocolate chunks are very good. The coffee flavor is very strong. It also has kind of like a syrupy vibe to it. So if you've ever gotten your coffee at Starbucks or Dunkin' and you don't stir it and you get like that kind of mouthful of like concentrated sugar with a little bit of coffee flavor. It's kind of like that, but concentrated sugar and coffee flavor, or like concentrated coffee sugar. It's weird. I'm going to try to get some of the cream with the coffee, so this is a little bit more of a mixture. Let's see how that tastes. Definitely helps. Definitely helps. So that is actually pretty pleasant. I think that the kind of like very mildly sweet whipped cream is really helping to balance out the way too sweet coffee. And actually, the coffee flavor might be growing on me a bit. Or maybe I'm just going numb to it, like my palate is getting, overstimulated. This honestly isn't bad. I probably would actually consider making this again. I don't like wasting food, so I've got all this instant coffee that I need to use up. So it's not too bad. And I think the next time I make this, I'll probably double the amount of whipped cream. Maybe mix some of it into the coffee so that none of the coffee is just plain. So I think that will help with kind of that like really harsh initial tasting. But yeah, overall, I'm surprisingly happy with how this turned out. So yeah, if you want to make your own Dalgona coffee ice cream, I hope that this was helpful for you. Hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please be sure to give me a big thumbs up and click subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.